Hi, my name is Ellie. In this video, I'm going to solve the USACO 2020 December contest bronze level problem 2 daisy chains. So if I explain the problem itself, every day as a part of her walk around the farm, Bessie the cow visits her favorite pasture, which has N flowers, labeled 1 through N lined up in a row. Flower I has P petals. As a budding photographer, Bessie decides to take several photos of these flowers. In particular, for every pair of flowers I, J satisfying this condition, Bessie takes a photo of all flowers from flower I to flower J, including I and J. Bessie later looks at these photos and notices that some of these photos have an average flower, a flower that has P petals, where P is the exact average number of petals among all flowers in the photo. How many of Bessie's photos have an average flower? So the input format, the first line of input contains n, which is the number of flowers, and the second line contains n space separated integers, and they are the number of petals each of the n flowers have. And then the output format would be the number of photos that have an average flower. So we have to find an average flower for each photo. And the concept of photo may be confusing, but we can interpret it as a range from I to J. So that range can either be for this sample input, that range can be if I is 1, I and J is 1, 1, it will be only this flower in the photo. And if it's 1, 2, this would be the photo or the range. 2, 3 would be like this, and 2, 4 would be like this. And so out of those numerous ranges that are possible outcomes of these set of petals, we are going to find the number of photos or ranges that contain that average flower. So if we look at the code, so n will be the number of flowers, and we will use the parseInt function to get and receive the number of flowers through the scanner. String array in is the string array of the number of petals that each of the n flowers have, and we are using the split function to store the string into the in array. And the input array, in the input array, this is an integer array, and we're going to put in the numbers as an integer using the parseInt function. And then now we're going to have a double variable called average, and this is just the variable that will keep track of our average flower. And we are using the double type variable because it has to be precise to the decimals. And the integer variable count is the answer and the number of photos that contain an average flower. And here in this for loop, we are looking for the average flower of the set of flowers, and 2, checking if the average flower exists in each set of flowers. So for int I equals 0, I will run it until it is less than n, which is the number of flowers, and j will run from I, and it will also run through the numbers until it is less than n. And we will have a double variable called sum that will keep track of the sum of all petals in the range of flowers, I and j, and that will be used when we find the average later on. And in this for loop, we are going to add up the number of petals in the range I and j, and then right here we're going to get the average, and we are dividing sum by j minus I plus 1 because the computer runs starting with 0, not 1, as we are using in this problem. And right here we have a method function, and in this function we are checking if the average flower exists within the photo or the set of flowers, and it receives the array of number of petals called input, the average flower value, and I and j, which is the range. But if we come down to the function, int x and y will be I and j for this function, and the result will be returned as a Boolean value. This for loop will run from X to Y and figure out if the average flower exists in the set of flowers that are given from I to J. And if it does exist, if input I will equal average, then we will return true as the result. And if we get return true, if you come back here, count will increase by 1. And this for loop will keep on going until it checks the last set of flowers. It will finally print out the answer, which is count the number of photos that contain an average flower. So if we check this using the sample input and output, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, as you can see right here, then we will receive 6. Thank you for watching and bye. See you next time.